part.
Well, there's all foam. That's a pretty decent example.
Yes, this is constructed out of completely all foam. Basically, for the same as what's up on the screen, you take foam strips, you make sort of like a hat. A whole foam head is going to be worn like a hat. It's going to sit on your head, strip from the side, strip around. Done. You've got your base. That's what it's called, a base. And you're going to build off of this base that you built out of foam.
Yes.
Foam, when you're building it with it, it's going to make it a little bit thicker because foam is thick. So if you're going to end up with a little bit larger head than your foam, because it's a head that goes inside of another head.
It's got to be bigger. There's also a balaclava base, which is, the ski mask they see all the spies wearing.
There's the okami before it was patterned in fabric, so you can see more construction. This is the large giant heads.
Yes, this was the ones that you saw earlier, the two Pokemon with like the heads that are probably like this big.
They're built off a bicycle helmet strapped around the chin that serves that it's really nice and stable on your head, and you keep your head in one place so you can always look out of the vision, because your mask, if it lopsides over here, well, now you can't see out of it, now you
when
can't
you're
breathe.
walking, suddenly it changes, then you probably will trip.
It needs to be secure to your head, and that includes anything you want to do. Neck extension, it needs to be secure to your body at all times.
Don't want it falling off, you might scare small children. Oh no, Umbreon lost its head.
So here they use a little bit of wire to support it because it is so large, but it is all foam, and they use as minimal foam as possible, letting as much airflow and space in there as possible, because the more foam you use, the more heat and the more expense.
There's also a mesh canvas.
There they are. They're so cute.
And there's the balaclava. There's some other stuff for moving jaw that's attached to the balaclava, but for the balaclava, you pretty much just glue the foam pieces directly to it, but don't wear it while you're gluing it. Please don't.
I made that mistake.
My very first costume, my brother in the back there, I was working on Charizard, I had him wear it, and I was gluing hot glue directly on his head, trying to get this fabric attached. Do it. I'm so sorry.
Untimed.
You want, because you're not built, a foam structure already has your base, your head. A balaclava is a base, but
it's floppy, so you need
thin
something
fabric.
firm to hold it.
So you need a styrofoam head. Mine is a little bit more complex. It's made out of a rigid foam, and it's actually made out of a life cast of some dude's head. I don't know. And this way, I have an actual human head to work with. You can go to any beauty supply store, get a styrofoam wig, and you can build off of that. However, the styrofoam wigs are typically smaller than a human-sized head.
I went to Hobby Lobby to get my male head. It's pretty small, but it does the job for holding the shape.
Yes. So you need something else inside there. Stuff it with newspaper. It'll, whatever it is, you want to try to get it to match your head proportions as best as possible. And a lot of times it's just going to be a little bit trial and error to find something that will allow you to work off of it. But if you can get it to work, balaclava is one of the best ways to do it. It's probably the most widely used way of doing it because it is very secure to your face, and for moving jaws, it translates that movement of your jaw very well. Next slide is showing my Shadow Lugia mask when it was in the foam stage. It is a balaclava jaw-based head. Yeah.
Here's the mesh canvas that also has foam built on top of it. With mesh canvas, it's usually very blocky, so almost no one uses it anymore. It used to be more prevalent back in like the 90s and early 2000s, but you can tell this is a fennec, and it has foam added on top of the canvas to give it more detail.
What they did is they took mesh canvas and they made sure that it fit their head, in all the places it needs to. They take that off, and now it's kind of like a wicker basket, almost. And then they can attach the foam directly onto that.
It's a very firm base.
It's still squishy, but it's a little bit firmer than starting with the balaclava.
Yes,
and a little more rigid. So there she used it. There you go. It's really cheap, which is why it has the biggest appeal.
I think it's like 60 cents. Pretty cheap.
Yeah. But this is an example of a hybrid mask, which is probably the most commonly used mask besides just the balaclava. Balaclava is technically, you're still building with foam, but the way that you started the base is a little different. So this combines kind of the best of both worlds, I would say.
Then there's casteds. It's an incredibly more advanced technique. You pretty much make a clay sculpture on top of
A life cast.
A life cast of a head, so it'll fit a person's face. Then you go and you make the molds out of latex
Silicone or
or plaster of Paris, what have you. You don't generally use that for delicate work.
and the idea that it becomes you can cast it in a lightweight, rigid material.
Which is this raptor head right here. It's made out of the
Made
same
out of
stuff
the
as
same
this
stuff
head.
as
It's a
this.
very light, firm foam. Like you can lift it with one hand, juggle it if you really want to.
Yes.
Like that.
This is foam. You wouldn't think it by looking at it, but it is. It's a kind of foam. And yeah, you saw how light it is. That's why it's great. This is actually a costume that's on extended neck, so it needed a lot more support, and it needed to be super lightweight, so you're not putting all the strain on
You
your
don't want
neck.
an extra 10 pounds on your head. That gets very tiring very fast.
You don't want to do that to your neck, please.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Another somewhat advanced technique that we'll cover is moving jaw. This is the most common technique for most beginners or people who are just getting into making something like Groudon or Umbreon. I didn't do it with Umbreon, but
My first mask was a moving jaw, and I got it to work. It is not guaranteed to successfully work for you, however. Everybody's face is different, and the materials are different, the methods are different, and there's plenty out there to try to do. So it's going to be really hit and miss until you figure out what's going to kind of work for you.
the basic mechanics is that there's a hinge right here, and you're mimicking this hinge with your actual jaw.
Yeah, everything rotates from that one point. So you want to have the same structure as your skull, which is one connected piece. Your lower jaw is a completely separate piece. So it's a good idea to also have a head that has a completely separate piece for the bottom jaw. Here's Lugia. This bottom jaw, well, I just kind of ripped that. I'll put it back. It's a completely separate piece. It hangs just like a normal kind of jaw.
Except that it's connected.
And it allows it so it will move very, very well according to my jaw. The balaclava has the elastic on there. Right, it was made to fit me. The elastic on there keeps it really tight to my face, helps push it back here, helps push it down here. So all of that is pointing to that point on my jaw. So that's where I get that movement from. It's everything stressing emphasis on, okay, you're going to move corresponding to the way that your jaw moves from this point.
Another example that doesn't involve the balaclava is pretty much a spring system like you have up there. If you looked at Groudon, you'll notice that it uses that. I set it over there.
Sorry.
Where does the top part of that go? So the bottom is here, and then it's the top part.
Groudon is the one that this is from. Typically, you want that hinge there to be kind of in the general area of your real hinge. Depends on where the top. This is what the jaw mechanic hinge stuff is made out of. It's really easy to work with. It's called Sintra, S-I-N-T-R-A.
The technical term is expanded PVC foam.
Yeah. So you want to again mimic where that that hinge is very close to your real jaw. You want to keep it away from your face for comfortability issues. You don't want it right against you because that will hurt.
It also like scrape.
It will also it will stress the mechanics and stuff. You want to make sure you leave the jaw mechanics as unhindered as possible. Again, yeah, it's a little bit more advanced to go into technically than that, but generally you want it to be in the same place.
Eyes are another very, very important thing on the costume. It makes or breaks the costume. Because people are drawn towards faces more often than like an arm. So you can have an arm look slightly off, but you want the eyes to be as close to perfect as you can.
You can see a quick example here. I took my Leafeon costume. I changed the eyes just slightly, and you can see how it completely changes the look of this costume. The first picture here, the eyes are completely centered in the middle of the eye. Yeah. However, if you're looking at something, they're actually not perfectly in the center of your total eyeball. They are slightly in the center because you are focusing on something directly in front of you. So you want this costume to look like it's looking at something, not looking in two directions, and not looking cross-eyed like I did on the very right there. It needs to be kind of right in the middle, slightly toward the center.
This just doesn't look great. It kind of looks. Yeah.
Unless you're doing derby hoops.
Then it's perfect. Some common eye materials. You'll have plastic sheets that were in the Groudon head, wherever that is.
It's around the room somewhere.
Okay. There's also
It's a cross-stitch fabric.
cross stitch. That's the word I was looking for. It's
8 o'clock, is that what it is?
Aida cloth,
or however you
however
say
you
that.
pronounce it. Aida cloth, it's
yeah.
cross-stitching, it's tiny little holes.
Fabric that you can see through when it's pretty close to your face. Buckground's another material is more stiff. You can also cast the eyes out of resin, but then you'll also have to use
There they are.
we can cast it out of resin, but as you see with the, I'll just point to it so you can see it better. This one, you can't see out of resin, believe it or not. So you have to see out of a little tear duct vision, like this little part right here. They put the canvas or the Ada cloth here so you can see out of that
Mesh
part.
material.
Yeah, instead of the resin eye, because it's pretty hard to see over something that's
It's a
painted.
slight, I don't know the lighting in here, but it's slightly easier to see in the green eye over there. Yeah, you don't look through the actual resin, glass looking eye. There we go.
There we go.
That's so much better. Thank you so much.
You can also put LEDs in the resin eyes. It looks pretty dang cool, as you can see with Groudon it.
And there's two different kinds of eyes. This one right here is like a flat eye. It has a dome shape and the backing is flat. The other ones over here, they have a sort of bulging kind of effect because what they actually was two half spheres put together. And when you look through it, it gives it a depth feeling, which actually is a follow me
No matter
look.
where you turn imagine the eyes facing this way, no matter where you turn the eye, it'll be focused on you, which is she used on Groudon, and I have several examples that I didn't bring today.
It's kind of a cool, creepy effect that you
Yeah.
can use.
It's always watching everyone at every time. Some finishing touches you'll want to consider like what's in the mouth. With Groudon, you can put a tongue in, look like a nice jaw set made out of
It was super sculpting, but ultra light super sculpting is what it's called.
so if you want to consider like a gum line, the tongue and like
It's all about the details. You really need to make sure you pay attention to those things. So, a lot of people forget back on the eyes, for example, eyelids are a huge deal with eyes. You can see right here, that eye's expression is completely different from that eye's expression. It's not just the pupil.
you don't want huge circular eyes unless you're really trying to be creepy.
Oh yeah, they'll look like you're like pulling your eyes back, staring at a TV kind of horror movie.